I love this particular episode of Dear Credibility Expert because the question is so cool. Given the time of year, given the season of giving, what I often get questions on is, why should I be sharing my stage? Isn't it important that this is the person asking, isn't it important that I am the one that's highlighted and I don't want to share my competitors, I don't want to share other people, I want to keep the 100% of the attention on me? Short answer, no. You don't want to do that. It is important to share your stage. Let me talk about this. So for those that have been watching, paying attention, I've interviewed 500 thought leaders on credibility. And the definition of credibility is the quality in which we are trusted, known, and liked. There are 10 values associated with each of those areas. And specifically, under being liked, there are 2 areas to focus on. One is showing respect, and I'm not going to talk about respect this time, but one is showing respect. And the second is sharing your stage. So a term that I came up with for sharing your stage is spreading cred dust. Cred dust is that magic that happens when you share somebody else's ideas, thoughts, and actions. So why is it important to spread cred dust? Well, in today's world, there's so much noise out there, right? And the way that you can attract new clients, the best way for you to attract new clients is to have referrals from people who actually trust, know, and like, or trust, know, and love you. Well, how do you get people to want to be super users? How do you go out of your way to get people to just continually love and want to support you? Well, sharing your stage with them, whether or not that's a post that you give in a particular social media platform, whether or not that's actually a physical stage where you're inviting people to join you, and you're inviting people for many different reasons. The quality of content they have, potentially the audience they may want to share you with, the ability, most importantly, the reason I want to share my stage is I want the audience I serve to have the best answers possible. Right? Think about this. Part of being credible is being a servant leader. Being a servant leader is having the ability to both understand the audience I serve and be able to deliver the best value to that audience. Well, the best value doesn't have to come from me. The best value can be curated by me and actually researched and delivered by somebody else. Or research, we can take, as a practitioner, I can borrow other people's ideas and incorporate them into the way I deliver. Right? Obviously, I'm going to do that with attribution by spreading cred dust. But what I'm also going to do is I want the customer I'm working with, I want the client that I'm working with, I want the prospect that I'm talking to recognize that when they interact with me, that they're getting the best solution possible. And it doesn't necessarily mean, or it absolutely doesn't mean, that it's the best solution possible delivered specifically by me personally or my firm directly. It's going to be the best solution possible, and there'll be opportunities and options as I'm spreading cred dust, as I'm sharing my stage. There'll be opportunities and options to co-create a better solution for the client, incorporating in what other people do. We've been taught wrong. We've been taught dubiously. We've been taught, and there are so many people who do this, who take credit for everyone else. You've heard of, you may have worked for that yucky manager who takes credit for their people's work. I believe at one point in time, did I actually do that? I'm not convinced I ever do that, but I probably did many other things that were bad as a manager. Taking credit for somebody else's work, the answer is why? Why would you possibly want to do that? It doesn't make sense from a perspective of credibility. It makes sense from the perspective of your ego and wanting to look good in front of your bosses. The thing is, If I am working with people who work for me or 2 or 3 levels down, I want the people working for me who are working on supporting their staff. I want the people working for me who are highlighting who are the up and coming staff members that are valuable. I want the person working for me who cares about sharing the stage with the people who work for them. So we've been taught wrong that you should take credit for what you do and what all your people do. And I'm going to say, hey, that's a very simple place to start spreading some cred dust. What about people who are quote unquote potential partners with you? Now, some people could potentially call them competitors. The way I look at the world is I have no competitors. I only have potential partners. So what about looking at people who do things that are similar to you and spreading their cred dust? Right? In the space that I play in, there are people who focus on authenticity. There are people who focus on trust. I should be sharing their spaces. There are many, by the way, too many to answer, to address here. The thing that's interesting is, as I'm talking, there are times in which some of the people who focus on those areas are better solutions than what I do in terms of the overarching focus of credibility, pulling it all together. Better solutions because it's at the stage that the client needs today, maybe better suited. And potentially if I orchestrate that sort of relationship, that is the time where their organization grows to the point where it does make sense to work with me, they'll be ready. Is that guaranteed? No, of course not. What I can guarantee is I'm going to feel good and I'm going to deliver value as a servant leader for the clients that and the prospects that I work with to make sure they understand the best solution for them. Some cases, there may be an opportunity where I say, hey, listen, there's somebody who's better at this. I can do it this way. Somebody else would do it better that way. Do you want me to bring in the other person? Do you want to talk to the other person? Or do you want me to do my best at what I'm doing? Now, the thing that's interesting is I am spreading cred dust. I am sharing the stage. And that may be a scenario where the person says, Mitchell, listen, your stuff is good enough. I want to work with you. God, that sounded horrible. So your best try is good enough. That may be better. So spreading cred dust. When you're running a platform, when you're writing articles, incorporating other people, when you have the opportunity to see what other people are doing, sharing really cool, breaking methodologies or just good deployments of areas that are valuable for you with your audience is what people want to see. They don't want to see something that's 100% about you. They want to see you sharing your stage. They want to see you spreading cred dust. So when you are consuming data and you're learning, why don't you summarize what you learned and write an article and tag the author in that article? When you're doing your podcast, so great. I had somebody who I was doing a podcast with today who gave me a LinkedIn review right afterwards because we had a good conversation in the green room before and afterwards. And I got this really impressive, not required, not asked for, LinkedIn recommendation. And the coolest part is she's sharing her stage. I will absolutely remember her and want to go out of my way. My guess is, based on our conversation, I may return the favor, but she didn't ask for it. She was spreading her cred dust, her expertise with her audience in a way that was valuable for her and added value for me, and I remember her for that. So I'm going to say, where have you spread cred dust today? Where have you shared the ideas, thoughts, and actions of others? And the more you do that for others, the more it will happen for you. And your business will grow as those people who really do trust, know, and love you start sharing more of you. And you start sharing more of them. And it sounds like a love fest. And you know what? It is. And the benefit is that we all win. As a summary, we've been taught wrong to say that sharing your stage, that bringing up competitors' names, bring potential partners, bringing up the ideas, thoughts, and actions of others is going to allow your client to go elsewhere or your prospect to go elsewhere? If they do, they weren't yours and they weren't meant to be yours. I'm going to say, if you actually can share your stage, be open, bring in the best solutions possible for your clients, they're going to appreciate you that much more. And it's not just them becoming clients of yours, it's them becoming rabid fans of yours and sharing you with others. So I'm going to say, those that have been taught that sharing your stage is bad, I would highly encourage you to let those notions fall away, because in today's world, sharing your stage is the way to be credible. Sharing your stage is a way for you to be that much more successful. Hope you enjoyed that.